Andrew, do you know who Chase Young is?
Yeah, of course.
No. My point is, I don't either.
Before I said that Cade Cunningham would never be an All-Star, and I just wanted to double down on that.
Oh,
I just
we're
What's
back
going
with
on with
another.
Mike's video?
I know.
New NBA World Champs, WNBA, NHL, NFL. You know how it goes. All right, let's go. It's just some brownie and some ice cream. Yes.
Man, that
What
looks
up,
good.
Cam Squad? What up? What up? What up? I'm MK. I'm your host. I'm here with John and Tesla Mace, and then hopefully we'll have an appearance by Drew at some point. He likes to come and go as he pleases. So we'll figure it out as we go. Welcome to Jam Pack, fellas. What's going on tonight? How you doing?
What's up?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing good.
You're gonna have to do most of the talking tonight, dude. This brownie stuff is good.
Yeah, I think your wife needs to get us some brownies too.
Sure. It's only 9:00. We still got plenty of time in
it's
the
all right.
night.
Right?
We got some new NBA World Champs, man. Well, let me get this as breaking
Breaking
news. Yes,
news.
sir. The Celtics completely dominated the Mavs in true fashion.
Oh, I really wish Andrew was here. I'm a little disappointed that he's not, actually.
Why do you say that, Mike?
Well, because he still thinks Dallas is going to win the series somehow. I don't know how. All day yesterday, I had to hear him say Dallas in 7. First time ever coming back from 3-0 and blah, blah, blah.
He meant
I
7
really
years.
wish he was here.
He meant Dallas in 7 years.
Yeah, maybe within the next 7 years.
That's funny.
I mean, he's just all about Luca, and I want to see what he has to say, because Boston just like obliterated them. Like, let's just outside of the one game where Boston was like, yeah, we don't care.
Yep.
It wasn't even really it wasn't even really a good series, to be honest. Like, I'm a little disappointed in that as an NBA fan, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wanted a little closer games. I wanted to see Boston. I wanted to see who would step up in Boston. You even up until they announced the MVP, you were wondering who was going to be the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a good team win, right? And very rarely is the best team during the whole year the best team in the playoffs. I guess it happens more in basketball than other sports, but they were the best team all year, and they were the best team in the playoffs. So good for them. Most importantly, they got one more banner than the Lakers. So I'm happy about that.
You got some paranormal activity going on in the background.
Yeah,
Good point.
It's waving the banner. That's what it is.
It's so funny. Oh, hey, guess what? Let me get this. Is he gonna show up?
18 banners for the Celtics, 17 and a quarter for the Lakers.
Right on time.
Oh,
Uncle
wow.
Drew.
There he is.
You better watch
Uncle
it, guys.
Drew who showed up?
Get those quarters.
Is that Uncle Drew who showed up? Because he didn't show up in the finals.
Dude, Kyrie Irving
I'm gonna
could not
spit this
play.
brownie all over my camera.
He could not play in the TD
Are you
Garden.
still-
That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing.
Are you still saying Dallas in 9?
Yeah, they're gonna do it. Think
They need
about
9
this,
quarters.
man. Celtics lost 1 in 5 games in every series. Like, they were by far the best team. They
I'm
beat
pretty sure.
Miami in 5. I think it's kind of crazy to say that Miami Butler is the toughest matchup. They beat
Are you able to
Miami.
hear?
They beat
Andrew is streaming
okay.
from Disneyland. That's why he smell. That's why he sounds like a
Robot.
a robot right now.
Hello, Andrew.
If we
hello.
Do I
rewind the
really?
tape, yeah. If we rewind the tape, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I said a lot had to go right for Dallas to win. And in the game that Dallas did win, a lot went right. Like when Lively is making 3-pointers,
Yeah.
that's part of the a lot had to go right, right? Like
And when he shot those, there were no rebounders. It still
Yeah.
went in, but it's crazy.
I was just saying before you got on, Drew, that I was a little disappointed from the competitive aspect of it, right? Like it wasn't a good finals. I mean, what was the closest game? 6 points, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Dallas almost came back from it, but even in that game, wasn't it 20 points or 19 points going into the fourth quarter? So I guess that was exciting to see a little bit of a run, but ultimately when Luka fouled out, you're like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, that was tough.
I was a little disappointed in that.
one would
Okay,
almost liken
well-
it. One would almost liken it to I don't know, a kids versus dad's soccer game.
And somebody got hit like Caitlin Clark in that game.
Yes, I did.
Mike is suffering today.
we were talking about
You ever get
dads,
that-
not you.
You ever get icy hot?
I didn't know if you were referring to Dax or me though. Dax
Oh, poor
took 2 in the
Dax.
face.
Both times with the ball, though, right?
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
ball both time.
Yeah,
Or no, did someone run
Poor
into
guy.
him the first time?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
I think it
Aiden-
was.
I think Aiden
Well,
accidentally ran into him.
Let me ask you guys this: is there any team in the NBA that could have beaten the Celtics in these playoffs?
I think Denver could have given him a run.
See, I think that too. I think Denver would have given them a run. I think Minnesota, maybe.
I mean, okay, to be
I don't
fair,
think
I don't think
Minnesota could have
Minnesota
scored
either.
as many points.
to
I think
be
Denver
fair,
matched up well.
Fair enough.
Indiana should have won 3 of those games.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they can score points. They don't play defense.
I mean,
But they can
Indiana was in it with less than a minute 30 left, right? Up
I agree
in
with
multiple
that. Right.
games. So if you had a healthy Halliburton, I mean, they kind of had an easy path, to be honest, too, right? Like let's not say
But-
this was the East.
And a lot of rest.
But
too.
do you really think that
Right.
any of those teams they faced in the East could have beat them, even healthy?
I think New York would have had a chance.
Knicks might
Yeah.
have had a shot. If they were healthy, the Knicks might
If
have
they
had a
were
shot, man.
if they were
the Knicks
healthy.
would have played them physical.
Yeah, Knicks would have
I
had
think
a
they would have.
chance.
They would have kept
I
up
think-
points by.
I still think Philly could have potentially had a chance too. You know,
The
with the
issue with-
size of Embiid.
The issue with Philly is they don't have depth right now. That's
Because
the
they
issue
don't have.
with Philly, right?
Did you say PG? They don't have PG because that's who they were trying to
No,
recruit.
yet.
I don't like Embiid trying to recruit him. I'll tell you that.
Not yet.
I mean, it'd be good pickup for Embiid for sure, but and PG's pretty unselfish too, so he plays really well as a B star. Anyways,
Remember the
But,
last Clipper they signed to a max contract? How that turned out for him?
oh no!
I believe he had 1 shot in the last game.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Just one, right?
Yeah, they
He's an afterthought.
yeah, but he was. I mean, I'm glad we didn't pay him, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You talking about Brand?
No, Tobias Harris.
Tobias.
Yeah.
Oh, Tobias Harris. I'm thinking back farther. um, yeah, Tobias Harris, man. But he's still all right. Like he's kind of what he is. On a bad team, he scored 20 points a game, and on a good team, he scores 10. So
For
But
those who
yeah,
don't know,
but
the
declining.
MVP of the Celtics Mav series, so the NBA, the Finals MVP was Jalen Brown, right? Al Horford ended up with the Celtics winning. Al Horford ended up becoming the first Dominican Republic player to win an NBA championship.
There you
So
go.
kind of cool, very cool. Kudos to you, Al Horford.
I had no idea he was Dominican. By the way, my whole life
I
until
mean,
he started.
Al
Until he
Al
said,
isn't
"I
necessarily
know,"
the
like Al Horford. I don't know why I didn't. Didn't. It's got to be
oh.
like Alfredo or something, right? Like, I mean, until he said "Gloria a Dios, Gloria a Dios," I was like, "What?" I'm like, why the heck is Al Horford like speaking Spanish? So I had to Google it real quick, and I'm like, Dominican. And then I heard the accent like later on, but I guess I just never really see Al Horford talk, right? So
Definitely not a Spanish but last
Al
name.
Horford, though, what a guy deserving of a championship, man.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
He just always seemed like just the best teammate, best play, really good player. Like who would not want? Everyone would want that guy on their team for sure. Like
Yep.
does all
most
the little
most
things, sets the
playoff
screens.
games, most playoff games without a championship in NBA history before tonight.
Wow. Well, it's because he's always on winning teams because he is a winner. You know, he did it in Florida, and then he came to the NBA and was just always a stand up. You know, quality
He
player,
was on
smart, high
the
IQ.
net, right? Before
Hawks.
Celtics?
Yeah.
Hawks.
Yeah, he played for the Hawks. Then he
That's
went to
right.
the Celtics. He left for and went to and played with Embiid with the Sixers, and that was not a good. They didn't mesh quite well, and then they brought him back to the Celtics as soon as they could. Um, he's just been a great piece for them. So that's cool that he won. Um,
Let's see if I
and now
can.
all these people that didn't want to pay Jalen Brown, remember that?
Yep.
Nobody wanted to pay Jalen Brown. They're like, wow, 300 million or whatever it was, biggest contract. They overpaid him, and he can't dribble through traffic. Doesn't have a left hand. Like they said, all these. I forgot what. Not he bad ball handler, all these things, and now he just won the Finals MVP. Man, that's wild.
Right.
I mean, he did shoot 7 for 23 today. So
Hey, you know what though? Like
Good defender
in
though.
in games.
yes.
So I actually think Tatum might have deserved. I mean, Tatum had like a near triple double tonight, and it's not like he played bad the other games. You know what I mean? I kind of thought maybe Tatum should have won it, but
20,
it was a
22
close.
points, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists on average for Tatum. And Brown was 20.8, 5 at 5.8 and 5.8. So I mean, you could have made the case, but I guess if you're solely looking off stats, right, in that game 4 loss, I'm sure Jalen Brown's stats went a lot lower because of it. Like I felt like he was more impactful for the early games that mattered, Jalen Brown. So I think he was more deserving of an MVP. Um, but another interesting stat: they played 121 games together as teammates without a finals championship, which is also an NBA record. So, um, it's cool. It's cool seeing him get his trophy and saying, this is both mine and Jason's, right? Like I thought that was really cool, really classy of him to do that. So, um, it, it's just good team basketball. They're a good team,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
anyone could have won the MVP.
Definitely. So
Well, not like
let's
pitcher, but yeah.
What?
not like Pritchard.
Yeah, he
Pitcher.
said anyone can win the MVP. I was like, well, not anyone. I mean, just
Like
Tatum or
Sam
Brown.
Howard
You
with
know?
his 4 points off the bench.
Let's run it
Hey,
back.
that half court shot today at the buzzer was
Was
MVP
all right.
worthy.
Yeah.
That was
Little
legit, man.
bro. Welcome back
What's up?
to the stream. So let's run it back. How close does Celtics come to the NBA Finals next year, and or who becomes the biggest contender out in the East? We'll just leave it at East because West is just way too difficult. We'll just leave it out East. Who's coming out of the East?
You mean besides the Celtics?
So do the
Because
Celtics how strong of a chance do the Celtics have to go back to back?
I think a
Strong
pretty
chance?
strong chance. Yeah.
Pretty strong chance?
yeah,
Mike, you agree?
if they keep Porzingis and Drew Holiday, yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay. Then if they are on that track, who would you consider being their biggest obstacle? Who's going to be, you know, the biggest roadblock in their way in order to get that back to back chip?
As of right now,
Themselves?
for me,
I mean,
it's
I don't know.
It's who?
It's who?
The Knicks are the
Say
biggest.
that again, Drew.
Sixers signed
You cut out.
somebody?
The Knicks.
Oh, I said this. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what's going to be the only competition. If the Sixers pick somebody up.
Let me read this. Let me read this to you real quick, okay?
Yep.
O'Shea Brissett, J.D. Dawson. No, I'm sorry, J.D. Davison, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornet, Svil Millahawk, Drew Peterson, Nemus Keta, and Xavier Tillman Sr. That's their free agents this year. So other than yeah, other than Sam Hauser, who made the rotation,
Who are they losing?
Yeah.
who are they losing? I mean, is
Well,
this Danny Ainge's brilliant like building, or is this what's his name, the old Butler coaches like doing like what, or is it just the organization drafting well, building on, relying on your two superstars, not giving up too early? I mean, what's
it,
I mean, think about this. It's crazy.
here's
It is
here.
crazy.
You know what's crazy is the Celtics. Just remember this. Did you remember the Tatum draft? Who had the first pick?
Oh yeah, I'd seen this stat because
So
it was. Go ahead, Drew.
it was
Oh,
Markel Fultz was the one that was drafted number one.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
The person the people who had the first pick were the Celtics, and they convinced the Sixers to trade up for Markel Fultz, and they took Tatum, number 3. The Celtics didn't want Markel Fultz or Lonzo Ball. They wanted Tatum the entire time, and they knew the Lakers were they were so like right there. That was the
Andrew, we can't hear you.
Hold on. Slow down,
It
Andrew.
sounds like
Your
audio tunes.
reception can't keep up, my man.
I'm
just
super
can't.
excited to hear what he has to say.
You serious?
I just can't hear it because I see the emotion.
There's so much emotion behind it that the audio won't keep up with him.
So you
But
really
if you
can't hear
are
me right
watching,
Oh,
Now
right
we
now
it's
we
cleared up. It's cleared up. But if you are watching right now, please hit that subscribe button just to improve Uncle Drew's chances of getting some clear audio. This would be tremendous for the
we
stream.
need to get him up to 1 gig. He's only at 500 right now.
and possibly some light. But
Okay,
that's
so
further
look,
on.
so here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying.
See, nope.
Answer the question.
It sounds like you're singing. Well, you're trying to sing your facial expression like.
Bro,
Okay,
no longer Uncle Drew. Introducing T-Pain.
He does sound like T-Pain. That's funny.
He's like, wait a minute.
All right, I have to
Bye,
move.
Ian Gray.
Leave in the car now. Oh no.
No, he exited
We
the car.
love
He's
you,
walking
Drew.
in.
All right, can you hear me?
Oh, he's at Bro's
Yeah.
house.
And we
That's
can see
why.
you.
He's
Yes.
Yeah.
he's at Bro's house. That's why. All right, go ahead.
Am I still T-Pain over here?
No,
No,
you're
Now you're
good.
good.
Okay, so what I was
Wait,
saying
smile
is
for me. Smile.
answering Mike's question. All right, about Danny Ainge. It's Danny Ainge, man. He fleeced everybody for years, essentially.
Yeah.
If you remember the Tatum draft, Markel Fultz went number 1. The Sixers picked him up, but the Celtics were the ones that had the number 1 pick. They always wanted Tatum. They convinced the Sixers they were going to take Markelle Fultz, and convinced the Sixers wanted Markelle Fultz. They knew the Lakers were going to take Lonzo Ball, and they got a trade. So not only did they get the guy they wanted at number 3, but they got picks and everything else from the Sixers. Like, they knew Tatum was the guy to get. They knew it wasn't Fultz, and they knew it wasn't Lonzo. Like, they knew Tatum was the guy. And they got Jaylen Brown, same thing, number 3 pick. They wanted him. I don't know, just really well drafted, really well. They outsmarted other GMs, and they hired great coaches. Like, I don't know, you got to give a lot of credit to. It's not just Ainge. There's other people in that organization that are great too.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that? Okay, so let me ask you: do you think Udoka was a great coach?
I think he was a good coach, but obviously not a good guy. So they had to move on, you know.
No, and I get that, and I understand that, but I mean, like, do you think this hiring of their coach now was a great hiring, or do you think, yeah, Mazzulla? Do you think he?
So I think their plan was always to make him a head coach, just not yet, and I think they had to speed that up. Like, if you learn about that guy, like, he's just a good person. They like how he is in the organization. I think he has high morals, like that kind of stuff. I think they wanted a guy like that to be a coach, and he was on their team. He was an assistant coach there, and doing well.
Yeah.
You know, he was learning from them. So,
do you okay? Do you think that the Hawks should take a piece from Danny Ainge's notebook and trade back in this draft?
If they can get some future picks, this draft is weak, right? They don't even know who the number 1 pick should be in this draft. Usually, coming into a draft, we're kind of confident, like, oh, this should be the number 1 pick. If you remember, the Cavs had the first pick. Who'd they take? Anthony Bennett that one year.
That was bad. Yeah.
Some Markelle Fultz 2.0. Oh,
right.
Bronny being the number 1 pick. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, who said right? Hey, if it brings LeBron,
well, no,
because
the GM of Atlanta came out today and said they're not going to be trading back.
So they're staying put.
You know what they should do? They should trade Trae Young and DeJounte Murray and just start over, man. Because those guys ain't it, man. I'm telling you, they're not it.
I agree.
I don't think they were ever close. Like, I don't think they could beat the Knicks. If we're talking like top 5 teams in the East, I don't think the Hawks are in the top 5 or top 8. To be honest with you.
Well, a few years ago, they hung with the Sixers, right, in that playoff series.
They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
Yeah.
But what changed?
They got lucky, and like pretty much like they got lucky, man. They weren't that good. They had some, you know, Clint Capella was younger. He played pretty well for them. They had some size and different things going for them. But the rest of, like, the league gets better. People move around. They better chemistry, and they got worse. So.
All right.
Okay, so you're gonna put Boston as a favorites to win it all next year right now?
They have to be. You read the list of free agents. Like, no one's leaving, right? So.
True.
All right, here I got something for you, Drew. Just so that before you take off for the NFL segment. I found this. I found this right here, and it's what is his name from Scooby Doo? Do you remember? Stephen Rogers going on. That's funny. It says, "Let's see who they really are, who the Mavs really are," and it's the usual scene where he pulls off the mask off of the ghost to figure out who the who's behind the scheme, and lo and behold, it's actually the Dallas Cowboys.
That's good.
I thought that was good. I thought it was really good. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one. All right, we still love you, Dallas fans. Whether you're with the Mavs or the Cowboys. I mean, somebody's got to root for them, right?
Hey, why don't we talk about the Raiders making the cover of Madden, Mike?
Hey, don't worry about the Raiders. See, that's what I'm talking about. You're gonna talk about them when they win, and you're gonna talk about them when they lose. They're not even playing right now. You're still talking about them.
Look at we're talking about the Cowboys. Like we're talking about a bunch of losers. Like what am I gonna think of? Like
I'm
there's
No,
about to
only
say,
two
and at
teams
we're
least
that
talking
come to
about
at
mind.
least
Dallas
we know the Dallas
Mavericks.
team loses, so yeah,
Yeah.
we know that. Basketball, football, it don't matter.
Hey, at least Dallas stays in their city.
Oh, hey, that's not my fault. I didn't do any of that. I have no control over that. Let's see here. Um, I got I got some stuff that came across my feed earlier today. Let's add this to the stage. Apparently, the New England Patriots agreed to trade Bailey Zappi to Cincinnati for T. Higgins.
Like a
Unfortunately, the Bengals however, did not agree to that.
oh, I was gonna say, there's no way they do a straight up trade for that. No,
No,
heck
Yeah,
no,
no,
that's
heck no.
that
not
sounds
at
like one
all.
of my fantasy trade offers. I want to like a
I'm like,
kicker
I,
for
I,
QB.
I still question exactly how much of that was actually true. I just thought it was funny because it came across my feed.
That's crazy.
I'm
That's
like,
funny.
okay, now you guys are just making some stuff up. Okay, here we go. Who you guys picking? You got your all-time Celtics, all-time Lakers, or all-time Warriors? Who's winning the championship out of this one? Okay, out of the Celtics, you have Bird, Paul Pierce. Is that McHale? I can't see from that far. Bill Russell
I
and
think it's Havlicek over there, but
Havlicek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. Then you got with the Lakers, LeBron, Kobe. I don't even think LeBron should be on there, but whatever. It's
Agreed.
fine. It's fine. Can think of
Who
some
you
other
put
people.
instead of LeBron? Elgin Baylor.
I mean, there's so many, you know.
I mean Jerry West. I'd have Jerry West, but
You got Kobe, Magic, Shaq, and Kareem. Or you taking the Warriors with Steph, Clay, KD, Wilt, and Draymond. John, you go first. Who you taking?
Man,
I know it's tough.
I guess I'd. Oh, it's hard to say as a Clipper fan, but I guess I'd go with the all-time Lakers there.
Okay, Mike.
I
I want to hear it.
unfortunately
He
disagree
hates
with
two other teams. He's gonna pick
I
Celtics by
unfortunately
default.
have to agree with John, but definitely after them, the Celtics and not the Warriors. They don't even belong. Like where are the Bulls? Why is Jordan not up there? Like, give me the Bulls.
Fair.
I'm just putting up on
And
the
you can
screen
pick
what's
most
coming across my
of
feed.
I mean,
Jordan's
all time Warriors.
championship
Come on,
team.
man. This Warriors team doesn't deserve to be all time. It's like 3 years.
Right, Drew. Who you picking?
so well. First off, I'm
Back in the
everyone's laughing.
cave.
When you put the light
Back in
on,
the
that makes
cave.
me so happy. Thank you for putting the light on. That's hilarious. Thank you, Drew.
All right, so here's the thing.
Drew, you know
Draymond
our
Green
time is
should.
always nine
It looks
o'clock on
like
Monday, right?
Bro,
We
looks
always
like
at
Cops right
9 o'clock on Monday.
it looks like someone's trying to let a flashlight in his eyes. It's not Cops. Go
Drew
ahead.
Drew looks like he's filming. Let me zoom in on this. Drew
Wait,
looks
what
like
was that
he's
movie?
filming the Blair Witch
The
Project.
Blair Witch Project? Yeah. I was like, what's that movie? We got the Blair Witch
I
Project.
love
Hey,
it.
run, Drew. Do me a favor and walk while you do it.
And talk about basketball though. You gotta run and talk about basketball.
All right. First off, Draymond shouldn't be on that list anywhere. I don't know why he's on there. What about like all these Warrior greats like Rick Barry or even Chris Webber
Chris
was
Mullen,
Chris
Weber.
yeah, Chris
Yeah.
Mullin, like
Come on.
even Spreewell. I know he choked his coach
Yep.
out, but like, dang, at least he's better than. Anyways, so it's definitely Lakers. That's not even a question. I don't think they even picked the best Celtics to be in that starting five, which is weird, but yeah, it's definitely the Lakers. They have Shaq and Kareem and Magic. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Definitely ridiculous.
I know it's crazy. They don't have the most championships, huh?
Okay, first off,
Let's just put.
There we go. Come on, throw in the Clippers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to us. We don't
you
care.
don't have one championship.
It's
No, we
okay.
don't.
Yeah. We've
How
heard it
many
our
do
whole
they
life.
have
I'm just
in
so happy
Vegas?
that you
It's
guys
more
are number
important
one.
to get a new stadium.
Yeah.
That's what Clipper fans say.
we
Get a
got the
new stadium.
wall.
There's a wall out there. My name's
Innovation.
on
We
it.
create innovation.
This is too funny. In NFL news, this guy got a big old contract.
Oh my
Trevor
gosh.
Lawrence,
I know.
$275 million on a 5-year extension. That is insane. Here's my question to you guys.
I don't
Number
know.
one, does he deserve that much money?
No,
No, he doesn't deserve it, but that's what the league's at right now. So
I know you're not wrong.
and you have to pay him. Like, I mean, you can't reset. Like, his numbers aren't good, but he has shown flashes. Um, I don't know. That's a tough one because he's. I don't think he's that guy, but he did win the playoff game. I mean, I'm just it's been a long time since Jacksonville won a
It,
playoff game.
if
So
you were to compare him to any other quarterback in the NFL, who would you compare him to? Like in the league right now, like who's his closest? He's not tier one, right? Like he's not Patrick
okay,
Mahomes.
so
He's not Lamar.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Joe Burrow. Believe it or
You think
not,
he's Joe Burrow?
I
Okay.
think he could be Joe Burrow. I think
Drew shaking his
I
head no. Go ahead.
that just validates my point because we know how much Drew knows about NFL. So
Go ahead.
he
Well, I
doesn't
wanna-
agree
even
with
know.
you, Drew. Just so you know, I
I want.
got Drew's back. I
I
got
want. I
you,
want to
Drew.
hear. I want to hear this
Joe
argument.
Burrow is like one of the best quarterbacks in the
Okay,
league.
no. What do you? Yeah, because he's what? He's had one good year. I mean, what else has
Every
Joe Burrow
time,
done in the NFL?
every time he's on the field,
He's got arguably the second best receiver in the league on his team. He's got T. Higgins, who's no slouch. He has had a great running back in Joe Mixon, and yeah, he had a good run. But so did Trevor Lawrence. He had a good year that one year, right? He's injured. He got injured. Joe Burrow gets injured. Like, I mean, I can see the comparison. I really can. Now, I'm not saying he's as good as Joe Burrow, but I think he can be. And
Okay.
I don't think Joe Burrow's an all-time great yet. I mean, like I said,
So
But
you're
he's got.
saying that's his ceiling. His ceiling would be
correct,
Joe Burrow.
correct.
I think that's a fair statement.
Okay.
If we had to
Okay.
compare him right now to a quarterback, I mean, maybe he's a little better than Case Keenum, but I agree. I'm not even being mean. That's a real comparison to me, right? Like he is such hot and cold, but Case Keenum can too. There are days or I guess games where Case Keenum can be a starter in the NFL and run a team, and there are days when Trevor Lawrence throws 3 or 4 interceptions, and Case Keenum do the same thing. No big deal, and he'll do it in the first half.
Ayo Lou 13. What's going on? Saying what's up in on Instagram. I'm sorry, I would totally tag your comments here on the show, but they got to be through either Facebook or YouTube for me to be able to pop them up. For whatever reason, Instagram doesn't let me do that. Sorry, bro.
so Joe
Go
Burrow to
ahead.
me, I just can't believe. Sorry, Trevor Lawrence has never been as good ever as Joe Burrow. Like I don't know how you can say that's his peak when like he's never even shown that in a game. Like when Joe Burrow is playing, the Bengals win like a lot. As soon as he gets injured, they start losing. Like I don't know. I know injury is a big deal, but I just never seen Trevor Lawrence perform
So-
Yeah,
anywhere.
you're right, Drew. His record is 2-7-1, 10-6, 12-4, and 5-5. That's definitely a winner, right?
So are you saying with him on the field?
That's with him on the field. 5-5 last year, 12-4 the year before. That was their one run. 10-6, and then his rookie year,
That's
2-7-1.
10-6 is great. That's a good season, man. That's not a bad
Yeah,
season.
like
Okay.
I said, one good season, right?
What's
Okay.
Trevor
So
Lawrence's record?
Trevor Lawrence's record. I don't know, but his stats are dang near the same. I'll tell you that.
Did he win 12 games?
Huh?
Did he win 12 games?
Trevor. Well, they made the playoffs. They made the second round, so I'm assuming so. Let
it's
me get
funny
that.
that you mentioned Joe Burrow because he is now tied with Joe Burrow as being the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL by annual salary. So per year. So Trevor Lawrence is making 55 million per year, same as Joe Burrow. That is literally tied for first place. Next is Jared Goff. Then you got Justin Herbert, Lamar. Dude, Patrick Mahomes is tied for 9th with 45 million a year. That is just insane.
He has other perks, though.
Oh, definitely. I'm not. Here's where I think the comparison starts to waver, right? Everybody thinks that Trevor Lawrence is, oh, well, take all my money. He's elite. He's the chosen one. He's lived up to the hype. He deserves 275 million. Well, if you compare him to a guy out in New York where they call him disgusting, I'll have to edit that out. But if you look at their stats, they're basically the same. And I'm talking about, oh, shit, I don't even know his name now. Daniel Jones. That's right.
Daniel Jones. Yeah.
Right?
Danny
Like, he's
Dimes.
basically Daniel Jones. Almost like to the T. He's only won one more game than Daniel Jones. He's only got 1 point better rating and has more interceptions than Daniel Jones. It's weird.
And
It's
just make
absolutely weird.
a quick
Go ahead.
comparison. I just want to, Drew, I want to tell you right now, nothing drives me crazier than Mike being right all the time. I promise you that. But I am going to stand on Mike's side here real quick for 2 seconds. So completions, from a career standpoint, Burrow has 1288. Trevor Lawrence has 1116. When we talk about completion percentage, you saw that Trevor Lawrence has 63.8, but Burrow's at 68. It's not a huge difference in the grand scheme of things, and they're only 3,000 yards off of total yards from each other. So,
with one more season.
With one more season, and I was going to get there. So I do think Mike is pretty dead on there, and I don't think I think it's really kind of hard to argue this from that standpoint.
And is Burrow's record 20-30? I wasn't sure what the record was that he had. He said he was 2-7, 12-4, 10-6,
Yeah, 20
5-5.
and 30, 13-14, 9-8, 8-8. His 3 seasons. 20 and 30.
That's Trevor Lawrence though. What's Burrow's record?
29 and 22. So he's winning.
He's right there. Okay.
Yeah, he's winning.
It's more than right there.
It's way better. No,
you're not
but
wrong.
You can't. But football's more than about what team. Cincinnati Bengals. You take. Let's flip the quarterbacks and let me ask you: are the Jaguars any better? That's my question. You put Joe Burrow on this team. Are they as good? Are they winning as many games? Are they 29 and 22? They're not.
So here's my point, though. You just threw up that comparison. The difference between Joe Burrow making 275 million, and the Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, or whatever his name is, like he's won one more game than that guy, and he's getting 275 million. Why? Makes no sense. Like
I don't disagree with you on that. I don't know that I would pay him this much. The problem is that's where the market is. And what do you do if you're the Jaguars? Are you willing to reset and say, hey, next year's draft, there's a guy that is going to replace this dude? It's the same problem Miami's going to have in the offseason. I don't think Tua's that guy. I know. As a matter of fact, I know he's not that guy. But how do you pull the plug on it? Like, he's right there. And do you really want to waste all the other stuff that's going on in Miami on a chance of a new quarterback? Like, who do you bring in to do it? That's why the NFL is where it is. Like, who is that guy?
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can't replace. Like, who are you gonna use to replace him? Who's on the sideline right now, or who will be on the sideline next year?
You don't have the guy in the NFL anymore. That brings that Fitz magic, right? Like, there is no Fitzpatrick in the league anymore that comes off your bench, goes on this amazing run to give your starting quarterback that you paid a ton of money to.
And let's not forget, Daniel Jones before last season signed a $160 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a top 10 pick or something like that, top 5 pick. That's crazy.
So I don't think Daniel Jones is worth it. I think Trevor Lawrence is way more worth it than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, I'm shocked they even extended him. Like, I didn't even know who the guy was. I know he played at Duke, but it's like, come on, how did that guy get like it made me want to put my kid in football. Like, seriously, like, if you could make
I would have taken
million
Case
as Daniel
Keenum.
Jones.
Right.
Yeah, Case Keenum.
I swear I would have.
So here's my question: like we're talking about, okay, well, there is nobody out there. Dude, I'm pretty sure Ryan Tannehill still isn't signed anywhere. Now I know he's not the greatest quarterback, but
He doesn't cost
he
two
at
hundred
least
seventy-five
compete.
million.
He'll compete though, right? He'll push
I
it,
think I'll take Tannehill over Jones, and
I would too.
I
right?
would definitely have anybody question me for something different, because I'll tell you what, Tannehill's completion percentage to those
Right.
receivers will be 10 times better, 100%.
Yes,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
yes.
Tannehill is better, but we're talking about building a team and a franchise for the future. Tannehill, unfortunately, Tannehill's over that hump, right? Like, I mean,
That's fair.
yes, he's
I
a
don't.
great backup, and I hope if I'm a Giants fan and we have a chance to go to the playoffs and maybe even compete, I hope Daniel Jones gets injured and Ryan Tannehill comes in,
Yeah,
right? To get a la Eagles, right? When
right.
Nick falls, right? Same concept, right? Like something like that would happen, but at the end of the day, no one's building their team or paying that type of money to Ryan Tannehill. Like you're just not.
I don't even think you need to
Yeah,
pay him. I think honestly,
I agree.
if I were the Giants, I'd bring a guy in like that just to make the guy we paid a ton of money to compete. Like, this is your chance. If you get beat out after we're paying you all this money, then I know off the bat, look, you're definitely not the guy,
Yeah.
right? But if you're continuing to improve because the guy behind you is right there stepping on your heels, then okay, well, then maybe we just need somebody here to push you. But if it was the same thing when I was coaching, if there's nobody competing against that top guy, just to push him a little bit further than what his normal is, I'm all for it. I am all for it. Compete, dude. Like, the last thing I need is my superstar to be lazy because he knows, well, ain't nobody else gonna replace me. I'm like, well, who do you got? You got
The,
nobody else that's gonna take my spot.
the
Well,
problem
but
the problem is it's hard. I think in the NFL when these QBs play good 1 year, right, and overachieve, right, like a la Giants, right. That year
Yeah.
where Daniel Jones they made the playoffs, no one expected them to make the playoffs.
Yep.
You almost feel like, dang, this guy's young. He got us there. We're obligated to sign him long term. That's where I feel like the NFL is at right now. Trevor Lawrence, he had the one good year. What would have been last year if he didn't get injured? Who knows? They were favored to win the division, right? It was a letdown, but he did get injured, right? So I think that's just unfortunate. In that QB position, you have one good year, you're gonna get paid,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
they 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 feel the need to keep you. Like I said, Miami's gonna have this exact issue. We're gonna be talking about this in a year from now, and they're gonna re-sign Tua. They kind of have to. Like he's got him there. Is he gonna win him a Super Bowl? No,
No.
right? Is he even gonna win him the division title? I don't know. I feel like that division is getting better, and the Dolphins are getting worse, right? Um, I don't know. It's just,
Let, let
but
me
what do you do?
compound on that.
Reset? Yeah, go
Let
for
me
it.
compound on that, Mike, too. I think teams are trying to find like where the value would be if you're going to give an extension. So I think Mike's point's valid, right? If you have one really good year and it makes sense, you want to almost extend that quarterback, then because you're paying like Daniel Jones's case, right, 160 or whatever it is for a 5-year extension, and you think, yeah, we got him at a good price. Yeah, you gave him a lot of money, but you got him at a good price because somebody else is going to take the market, the next
Right.
year or whatever it is. So you're trying to strategize as a team too and say, well, if he had one good year, then you think, well, we're building up now. Now we're on the up and up, and so we're going to get him at a discount. We'll say, 160 is a discount because now, obviously you saw, Trevor Lawrence with 275. You think, man, thank goodness we didn't have to pay Daniel Jones that, you know. But in the grand
Agreed.
scheme of things,
That would
is
have
you
been
worth it?
terrible. That would have been absolutely terrible.
which is
Everybody would have
where
been
which is
scratching
where
their head.
these running backs are kind of like, hey, I had
Hmm.
one good year too, pay me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when they don't, they're like, cool, I'm gonna hold out. Like I used to have a big problem. Like Zeke, I had a real big problem with. And again, I'm not a Cowboys fan, right? But I had a problem with what he did. And then I was like, you know what? Good on him, right? Like willing to forfeit a year to get paid. Now it didn't make a team better, but like it's proving, the life cycle, the length of a life of a running back in the NFL is what, 5-6 years outside of
Yeah.
Yeah,
your Derrick
maybe
Henrys.
less. Maybe
So
less.
you're
Yeah.
talking one contract extension
Yeah.
max. Like, I mean, how many running backs went in this NFL draft in the first round? I think it was one, right? The Texas guy.
I
One.
think so. One.
Yeah. So I mean, you're telling me like you're talking about a position that's dying and they're not getting
Mhm.
paid at all, yet they're getting the rock more often than almost any other player on the team outside of the quarterback.
More
Yep.
So
touches, man.
it's just these guys are all about performing. I agree with you, Mike. I think you bring in and you actually have a legit battle, but at the end of the day, like you gotta give the young guy a chance. And if he doesn't have the chance, then you gotta move on. And
So
Tannehill's not the answer to moving on. Tannehill's the answer to my quarterback went down. He's gonna finish out the year. Maybe my
Like a
guy
bridge
comes back
quarterback.
healthy. Yeah, maybe my guy
Definitely.
comes back healthy for a playoff run. But you know what? We stick with the hot hand,
Yeah.
but
right?
here's
That's
here's
Hold
the
on,
point though.
before we go on, let me go through these last three slides, and then we'll keep moving on. So, for those who didn't see the last slide, Trevor Lawrence actually leads the league in most turnovers over the last three seasons with 60 interceptions,
And
okay,
was rewarded.
versus 69 touchdowns, which is just behind Josh Allen, but Josh Allen has 59 interceptions and 128 touchdowns. So there's a huge
right.
difference, right? Even more so, just checking in on the 2021 first round QBs, Trevor Lawrence just got that 5-year, $275 million extension. Zach Wilson traded to the Broncos. Trey Lance traded to the Cowboys for a fourth round pick. Justin Fields traded to the Steelers. And then Mac
Like
Jones, who
kick
just got traded to the
Kick
Jaguars
returner.
to, yeah, to be behind Trevor Lawrence. So that 2021 QB draft class doesn't look too hot. And then last but not least, here's the 40 career starts for Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and Daniel Jones, and they're pretty much the same across the board, which is insane. Absolutely insane. They're basically the same quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, I will agree. Trevor Lawrence definitely has a higher ceiling out of all the ones that were mentioned. Hopefully, the Jaguars can continue to develop him and bring more weapons around him to improve those stats. But
Let me ask you this: which one of those three quarterbacks is favored to win the division this year?
Well, Mac Jones isn't even starting.
yeah, pretty much.
Trevor Lawrence is, right. Like, I mean, aren't the Jaguars still favored to win that division? So, I mean, last year they were favored and they were right there until he got hurt in week 17. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it, he's in a crappy division. Jacksonville doesn't have any other real good players on their team that they can pay. They got the money, right? Like, you had to do it for the fan base. Like, whether right or wrong, they
Well,
had to do it.
let me ask one more question. Do you
Go ahead.
think he gets a pass because of the system that's been around, or the systems that have been around him, the coaches that have been around him?
Urban
You know,
Meyer,
yeah. Do you think he gets a pass for the past? Let's say.
I think so, but I think that with Doug Peterson there now, I think that pass is like that's not an option anymore. Like he's got to put up or shut up at this point, right? I, I
But
think I think Doug Peterson's a good coach.
the reason why I ask is because he was a number one pick, right? So do you think because he was a number one pick and because he has all of the physical attributes that you want in a quarterback, you're going to give him a couple years and a pass, for let's say the first go around. Right now that this is his contract year, he gets contract. It's obviously different, but I had wondered that last year. Is this guy going to get a pass, and is he going to get a big contract because of all the stuff that's kind of happened around him that was not great?
Yeah, I agree, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds to being a favorite, right? Um, you
That's a good
you
point.
he's not, he didn't do it last year. Like, in all honesty, like they were supposed to win last year and they didn't. They started off really good. I think they were 4-1, 5-1 at one point, and then
Yeah,
I mean
they're
just
on fire.
complete meltdown, right? Like everyone's like, oh, this Jacksonville team, they're gonna win it all, and then all of a sudden, They went to London, and that's another thing. I mean, how much does that play a factor in this? I think they had 2 games out of the country last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, yes, it is the East Coast team and it's the closest, but is at some point, I'm curious to see how that's going to affect a lot of these NFL teams. Is that travel, right? I know they get the bye week typically afterwards, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there was 2 games they played there, and they didn't get the bye week obviously after both of them. So,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of factors in it, and again, I agree. Now he needs to prove it, right? Like, now you just got paid, you are that guy. Stay healthy and do it. But again, it's interesting because just like Joe Burrow, we're talking about a guy who won in college, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence won in college. He is a winner, right?
So do you
talk
think
about
he's getting
how
paid from the stuff that he did in the past? Like, do you feel
I
like
think he
he's
is. Yeah, absolutely. I think he is. I think he got paid
okay?
because he's a number 1 pick. It's too soon to reset. He is a winner. He's proven. I think that's why he's getting paid, because it's definitely not because of his numbers. I mean, we just went over those stats.
Yep.
Right.
Career starts
But
20 and 30. What a winner! That's amazing, man.
I
I'm
agree.
just saying, like, I think we should know by now. I'm sorry, like every great quarterback we've
Somebody
seen,
wait,
after a
wait.
few seasons, we see it. Like, we know they're okay. This guy is great. We know he's great. Like, we weren't like questioning like Drew Brees. Like, all of a sudden, oh, Drew Brees got good after year 10 or 12. Like, no, we knew Drew Brees was good. Oh, Philip Rivers, yeah, he's not winning so much. Like, there was some questions. Like, would you really consider him a great quarterback? Not like Aaron Rodgers, not like Tom Brady, not like all these quarterbacks that actually win it. Patrick Mahomes. We aren't questioning like these guys. It's not just because they're winning. Like,
Hold on.
I don't
Hold
know,
on now.
man. Like, I think we would know by now. That's my thing.
I
So if you're
I
not,
got
if your goal is to win, then like paying him 275 million isn't the way to go. Pay someone
I
else until you get someone better. Move
I
on.
got
Like,
one
I
for
don't
you,
know.
Drew. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is Tua great?
No, he's not.
Okay, because I
I
was gonna
like
get you
him.
on that one.
I
Because
How
like
much?
Tua's
him,
record
but
right now is 32-19. He is not that much better than Trevor Lawrence.
How much is he worth to
The
you,
thing is,
Drew?
Andrew, there's not greatness out there. Like, you have to
Yeah,
find this
that's
greatness,
where we're
and
going.
We're past that
if
era.
you have a point, if you have a guy who's almost great, you gotta gamble on it. Like, that's where the NFL is,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And I may be wrong. I get what you're saying. I'm not saying, like I said, this I would not pay this guy that much money, but I feel like they had to pay him.
I honestly feel like we were super spoiled growing up in
Oh,
our era
absolutely.
of NFL with quarterback play, because the quarterbacks that were in that era with Brady, Peyton, right, Philip Rivers, Drew
Rivers,
Brees, like Big
Aaron
Ben,
Rodgers.
all of them are just looking at this contract and going, "Are you kidding me?"
Okay, I mean, hey, let's talk about Brock Purdy, because
Yeah,
he's going to
Right?
get paid next year.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a good record. So what? Where would you put his money at, Drew?
But he's
Are
the
you
last
comfortable if
pick in
this
the
is Brock Purdy
draft.
signing back?
well,
if
I mean, Brock Purdy's playing pretty well, man. Like, by all accounts, like he's had good seasons. Do you think he's better than Trevor Lawrence?
No,
Yes.
I don't. But his numbers are. He wins more. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are we basing your argument on? Like, he's 20 and 30 as a starter. Brock Purdy is a lot better than that. So let's pay the man.
Yeah.
Oh, if you agree with that, say say so in the comments. Like, we want to hear from you. We want
I
to
mean, Jimmy
hear your
Garoppolo
take
won
on
with the
the.
Niners, right? Is he a winner?
Oh, don't get me started on Jimmy G, man. I am so
But Jimmy
fed
G
Okay,
up with
can't
Mike, let me
Jimmy
scramble.
ask
G.
you
I'll put
this.
money on Brock all day to even to run at a linebacker and take a hit versus Trevor Lawrence. He can't do that anymore.
I I agree. I agree, and I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's Brock
And
Purdy's going to get paid next year.
we're
He
gonna have to
he.
pay him like between $45 and $55 million, Drew. 45 and 55 million.
A year,
A
yeah,
year.
A year.
absolutely.
That's
Well,
what. And
let
Tua's
me
not
ask you
getting that
this
money. I
then:
promise you
if
that.
it doesn't matter, like, oh, we're going to win anyways, just give us any quarterback. Then why don't you sign somebody else then? Like, why pay him?
That's
They did. They
literally.
had Trey
I mean,
Lance, and then they traded him away.
we had Trey Lance.
Yeah.
We benched Jimmy G for Trey Lance, and then Trey Lance got injured. We're like, oh, just throw in Brock Purdy.
And
Like
we
literally,
gave up 2 first-round picks in like 2 seconds
yeah.
that you don't get back.
It's too much.
And so it's not just you don't care who you throw in there. It just has to be kind of a right fit, and you hope they're better than average, right?
Oh, there was so much we should have talked about today, but we're running out of time.
Wait,
For those
real
that
quick, Aaron
Go
Rodgers was
ahead.
thrown out there. Aaron Rodgers, how many Super Bowls has he been to?
All because of Trevor Lawrence. Look at this. Look at this guy.
Well, hold
Wait,
on.
hold on.
First
Aaron
off,
Rodgers wasn't just he was a first round pick, man. Aaron Rodgers is a first round pick. He's not like just thrown out there. They planned to they batted him back up Brett Favre, and when
Okay.
he moved on from Brett Favre, he took over. I mean, it wasn't like
But
How many Super
we
Bowls
can't-
has he won?
what?
I'm gonna tell you right. I'm gonna
He's
stop
won
you
one.
right there. And he's only won once because of Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has had way more like Hall of
Opportunity.
Fame. Yeah, Hall
Yeah.
of Fame. We're talking Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He had Favre. He had Aaron Rodgers, and now is dealing with Dak, and he's held all three of them, like in handcuffs. Like, what are you doing? You have that kind of talent at quarterback, and you can't. You got one Super Bowl to show for it.
Aaron Rodgers has been a favorite in 4 NFC Championship games that they lost.
You blaming
And
Rodgers for that though?
I guess I'm confused
just
with your
saying,
point.
like,
Are you
one
saying
of the
he's not an
Niners.
all time great? Like I'm confused. Like Aaron Rodgers
He
is an
is.
all time great.
he is an all-time great, but I do think that people elevate him higher than he should be, in my opinion. I
And we
don't
just have to
think-
be careful by saying he's a first-round pick because, again, and just hear me out, right? Like Daniel Jones is a first-round pick, garbage, complete garbage,
Look,
right?
man.
Like there has to be some meat behind that too.
I have
Yeah.
the biggest draft bust on my team as a
Jamarcus
first
Russell.
overall
Jamarcus
pick. I
Jamarcus
don't want to
Russell.
hear.
Bro.
I don't want to hear he was a
And
first
you said the
round pick,
biggest
bro.
because
Hey.
that boy grew.
I
He
don't know.
gained a lot of weight.
I think Chargers fans got a worse one than you. Ryan Leaf.
With Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
The
Ryan
Wazoo
Leaf may be
boy.
the biggest number
Just,
first round
sorry.
bust.
Sorry to my Wazoo fans. I know I'm gonna hear some stuff in the comments later about all of that. That's too much. Thank you for tuning in today to today's episode of Jam Packed. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion on the latest in the world of sports. Remember to like and subscribe and review our podcast. Stay up to date with all the things sports. Join us next time. We are literally live every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us for more analysis and insights. Until then, stay active, stay informed, and keep cheering for your favorite teams. This is MK along with John, Drew, and Tesla Mace. We are Jam Pack, and we're signing off. Make sure to play hard, stay safe, and keep the passion for sports alive. Until next week, we'll see you later. Later, boys.
See you later, guys. Good seeing
Bye,
you,
guys.
talking to you.
Hey, let's go.